affected by it, but I mean, I just don't know what the reason would be to even make a new Xbox at this point. I don't see it.
I don't either, except as we have well worn at this point, an off ramp, like some sort of olive branch. But if you're making a PC anyway, I just let OEMs make your shit.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else to say, Dustin? No, you're done. No, I don't even want to hear it.
Oh.
Hello, my friend. Hello.
Call of Duty up next, huh?
Well,
Thanks, buddy.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yep, Call of Duty.
Thank
Time
you.
to talk more about this. So, Push Square wrote a story that cites an ongoing lawsuit surrounding Bobby Kotick and I guess some of the Activision stuff that really has no relevance to us. But I'm going to read you through the story about the context of it and then what he says about Call of Duty that I think is really... It's not only eye-opening, it's like, oh no. Let's see what it says. The title here says, Call of Duty on track to perform over 60% below last year. Ex-Activision boss Bobby Kotick sticks knife in flagging FPS franchise. And they write, quote, it's no secret Call of Duty is enjoying a particularly torrid time, but ex-Activision boss Bobby Kotick may have revealed just how badly the latest entry, Black Ops 7, is doing. In response to a lawsuit led by investors and funded by a Swedish pension fund named AP7, he repeated multiple times that the newest Call of Duty is down 60% compared to last year's game, which will be sending alarm bells ringing in Redmond. To give some context to the suit, a group of investors have essentially alleged Kotick of rushing into the deal to sell Activision to Microsoft. They claim his valuation of $95 per share, $69 million cumulatively, was too low. They further allege that he ultimately made the decision to sell to insulate himself from widespread sexual scandals. But in Kotick's response, he points to lagging console hardware sales and massive declines to the Call of Duty franchise as evidence of why he made the right call. He said, as read and reported by GameFile, quote, today, given that console sales are at an all-time low and Call of Duty sales are off over 60% from the prior year, plaintiffs should be expressing extreme gratitude for the foresight Activision leadership demonstrated in consummating this transaction, end quote. We're not entirely sure, they write, where Kotick is pulling his 60% figure from. I don't think it's that mysterious at all. But it's safe to assume a man with his standing in the industry would have his sources. Indeed, we know that Black Ops 7 has seen massive declines pretty much worldwide, forcing Activision to release an unprecedented statement late last year, which we covered on the show. The panicked note to players mentioned it had never released back-to-back sub-franchise installments again. It's also true that console sales are at an all-time low in the US anyway, where November's numbers were worst on a record in 30 years, despite the brand new Switch 2 entering the market. Elsewhere in his note, Kotick went on to attack the FTC, who famously tried to stop the Activision acquisition from going through. He pointed out, quote, Call of Duty is on track to perform over 60% below last year because of intense competition from titles like Battlefield, destroying the FTC's now defeated argument about Call of Duty's purported monopoly and the lack of competition in the first-person action game category, end quote. Dustin, I lied. I do want to hear from you. What do you think about all of this? Now, I don't want to set the stage, and I don't want to lead you too much, but 60% off is insane. And they write here, we're not entirely sure where Kotick is pulling his 60% figure from. It's probably because he was the CEO and co-founder of Activision for its entire duration since its down days in the 80s, and probably knows almost everyone still in the C-suite. So I assume that's where the numbers are coming from. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm not surprised, and I believe the 60%. We talked about that a few weeks ago about, it's one piece of the pie, but the Steam numbers in particular are telling of the situation, and so this information just confirms that we were on the right track with that. And you gotta wonder partially if, I don't know. I was like, are the sales down 60% partially because Microsoft is putting it on Game Pass? Certainly that has some part of it, but at the same time, the IP has just continued to decline and get more tired. And as pointed out, games like Battlefield, but also Arc Raiders have just pulled people away from this, where they see how, Black Ops, 6? I think Black Ops 6 actually had decent momentum behind it, but didn't pan out in the long term just because people were starting to get sick of the different DLC and the different types of characters they put in the game. And then Black Ops 7 was just like, man, the wrong direction at the worst time to take the IP. So the thing that I think is that while it is down 60%, I think they could turn it around. I think it might take a few years, and maybe it's not going to be quite to where it was for a while, but these things ebb and flow. And so right now, Battlefield, I feel like a lot of people are kind of cold on that now too. It's like things have their moment being in the spotlight. Call of Duty this year, Call of Duty had its moment in the spotlight. It just was not a very positive one. And so if they come out with the right game at the right time next year, it's hard because these things have to be planned years in advance, but I think they could see they could regain some of that 60% loss. But yeah, not surprising. And I kind of was thinking that my take was that Call of Duty will still be Battlefield despite it all because it's Call of Duty. But
Like long term.
well, not even just like this game.
Oh, so
Like
game to game.
people
I
were
see.
like,
I see what you
before both of them are out, people were like, Battlefield 6 is gonna annihilate Call of Duty, and I'm like, we always say that, and it never happens. And this time, it actually happened.
Yeah, it
It was against all wisdom. But I guess the writing was on the wall, so maybe we should have been looking, or at least for me, who was making that take, like look around, okay? The tides are changing.
Yeah, it's well. Before I get into it, Chris, what do you think about this? This is pretty big news.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was pretty bullish about Battlefield coming out on top this year. Like, there was something in the air about it. I wasn't sure, obviously, just a lucky guess, but like, it felt like this year things were shifting, and like it didn't feel like there was much clamoring for Black Ops. Everything about it, from like the fact that it was like a numbered sequel immediately after the previous one, which is pretty rare and usually not a good indicator. The last time that happened was also like, I'm pretty sure, was it Modern Warfare 3, Dustin? Was that the last time that they had like the recent Modern Warfare 3, by the way, was the last time that they had like a direct numbered sequel without like a space in between or like alternating franchises.
Yes.
And
And it
didn't go
also
over
wasn't
well.
even a new game.
Right, well,
It was like
yeah.
a crappy campaign.
Yeah, it was like a
mini
Warzone
small
map,
and new
right?
maps.
Yeah, so I mean that being in the air was kind of a telltale sign. Battlefield just generally having positive underground buzz from like playtesters and Arc Raiders kind of exploding out of nowhere too was also kind of like that. That was, I think, when I was more sure about it, where it's just like, oh, there's like, usually people will be like, oh, well, yeah, maybe I'll get both, right? But now there's this other thing that's kind of sweeping up a lot of the attention. And so like, I just thought like, yeah, this is the year that they're gonna fumble. It's not surprising. I think much like Dustin that like, I think ultimately they can turn it around, because Call of Duty is just one of those, it's one of those franchises that I think if you build something good within it, people will come. Like, I think that's really as simple as it is. It's like that name recognition is so huge. It's been around for a long time, which that in and of itself isn't necessarily a guarantee, but it helps. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, the thing that's crossing my mind a lot as I think about this is the fact that, like, man, there was a time where you could get away with this kind of thing when development cycles were 3 years, where you could alternate reasonably between a handful of studios and have them each kind of pumping out an offset game that met some kind of quality bar that people reasonably saw something in. But now that those development schedules are like 5 years apart and they're more expensive to make now, like, I wonder how reliably you can even really do that without really seeing the deficits of what it takes to meet that demand. Like, I mean, this seems evidence to me that like the current way that they're doing things is not sustainable and they can't do it. Like, I almost wonder if the remedy that they're going to look at is like building another team to fill in that space, or we're going to take a year off.
Yeah, scale down,
bring back the kind of like make you miss us type deal. Almost like they did with the Assassin's Creed that 1 year where they didn't release an Assassin's Creed game. And so when it came back, people were like, oh, okay, let's see what this is. Didn't work for me. It didn't grab me or anything.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, yeah.
I think it'll work for some people. Like, just like, let you miss Call of Duty for a little bit. You can't be too long because it's fucking expensive. But I think even a year would do a lot.
Yeah, I think you're right. You both say a lot of interesting stuff because there's going to be a lot. This is really not good. I think you're being very fair, Chris, Dustin, I'm sorry, when you say that, this is 60% down. What part of that comes from Game Pass? But that Game Pass would have been in last year's too, right? So that is fair, and it's interesting to think about, but it's from this old baseline. In other words, that number would have been much more instructive maybe last year. I think the first year that they ingested it in the Game Pass, and they lost a lot of money doing it. But I think you're right. Like, well, Chris, because there's two different ways to pursue it. It's either you like dump more money in, and I don't know that they have the appetite to do that. Although it might pay off, it could become a sunk cost. The other thing is, to go away and scale down, and I think that that's what they really need to do. And I was saying this on an appearance I did recently on a different show where, they have basically all of Activision working on Call of Duty. And what you might want to do is you just kind of get rid of the support teams if you want to scale things down. So your Beanoxes and your High Moons and all the rest. And you keep Infinity Ward, Sledgehammer, Treyarch, and Raven. And you let them collectively make a Call of Duty game every 3 years or something. And then have a roadmap, even immediately, of saying, like, this is quarters 1 through 12. We're going to have things for this game leading into the next release. We're already talking about the next release. It's going to be here. And in the meantime, we're going to go silent again and make this new game. And I just think it's too aggressive to go after people for $60 or $70 or your Game Pass subscriptions every year to go after Call of Duty when there's just too much competition. It's not the same anymore. Call of Duty used to be an annualized sports title. And that works in sports still to this day because they're all unique to their particular brand and their particular game. So Madden is Madden. That's a ubiquitous thing. But Call of Duty is Call of Duty, but shooters are shooters. In other words, football, another basketball game or another football game is not going to be an NBA game or an NFL game, and it's not going to work. So I just think they really need to bite the bullet. And this is why I think it's so funny that this Swedish pension fund is suing Bobby Kotick, because I agree with them in the sense that it's like, are you crazy? Do you have any idea how much Microsoft overpaid for this thing? That's why, and I remember saying, you guys will remember, I said that at the time. I was like, this is so much money for Call. Like, I don't understand. Again, just to use some examples, it's like Star Wars was $4 billion. Star Wars. And meanwhile, Activision Blizzard is $70 billion. It doesn't, even with the years detached, 10 years difference, it's like, it doesn't really make any sense. And so I agree with him. Like, if you were an Activision shareholder, you got a great fucking deal. And I love his kind of coyness, and it shows that he doesn't have good relationships with like people that are involved in this, because, and it showed during the trial, by the way, where he said he would never put Call of Duty in the Game Pass because he would lose money doing it. And lo and behold, that's what happened. But he's basically saying, like, yeah, like, you should be thanking me. We got a good deal for you at the time that this thing has been declining, and they probably had a good feeling for it, even at that time. They're not stupid. We have a letter from Drew Peacock that gets into something I wanted to discuss, though. He says, "Hi, Kyle, Dusty, and Christopher. I have a question about Xbox's handling of Call of Duty since the Activision deal. They've publicly acknowledged that putting COD on Game Pass potentially cost them hundreds of millions in lost sales, and now the most recent game is majorly underperforming compared to previous years. At the same time, Xbox leadership has gone through multiple shakeups. We really don't even know who is running it at this point, and they just don't seem to have a realistic long-term strategy. Do you think Microsoft actually has the leadership, skills, and creative stewardship needed to protect, handle, and grow a franchise as big as Call of Duty? Or is there a real risk that the Activision acquisition ends up being a huge financial and creative misstep because Xbox simply doesn't have the track record of managing and evolving franchises like Call of Duty? Curious to hear your thoughts." Listen, I don't want to pile on too much, but I said this from the beginning, and it's not to be a dickhead. I even said this during the Bethesda acquisition, which made a lot more sense. It's like, Microsoft simply doesn't have the creative talent to do this. If Activision was on a trajectory down, or Call of Duty was on a trajectory down, Microsoft was definitely not going to be the company that stopped it from happening. And it was never a good creative fit. They're a major computing corporation. They're a services corporation. They are good at it. but you can't really look at their stewardship of virtually anything in the game space and be like, yeah, you did a good job. Look at Halo. Look at Gears. Forza Prime. I mean, that series is done now, right? And it's, as we were saying earlier, it's just flying too close to the sun with deals and talking out of both sides of your mouth and acting like PlayStation was trying to kill them by getting exclusives while you do the same fucking thing. And all the rest, it just... I'll just reiterate for the millionth time, if I believe that PlayStation needs new leadership, and I do, at least on the studio side, and I'm very on record about that, then absolutely, you drop a fucking neutron bomb on the Xbox brand and bring in all new people. And that should have happened a long time ago, and that should have happened when their strategy changed. So that you could have brought in new people, interviewed people, and said, like, this is what we want to do, and they're like, yes, we agree, and then they're the fucking figureheads of this whole shift as the ship turns into a different direction, a 90-degree different direction. But instead, they kept all the same people involved who never had the talent to deal with the growing organization behind the scenes to begin with, and then you give them Activision? Come on. It like doesn't it just does it's just kind of nonsensical when you think about it. No, Matt Booty could be the nicest. I've never met him. Nicest person in the world. Obviously has no idea what he's doing.
Yeah.
Phil Spencer talks out of both sides of his mouth. Everything he said ends up having another statement against it. There are entire like meme images of it. Like it's so easy to encapsulate and boil it down. That's what bothers me about the Xbox situation. Not that they're failing, but that they seem to be okay with it. There's like a level of acceptance. We're not going to win. You kind of almost found it when Phil Spencer was like, we're never going to out-console PlayStation. It's like, well, why not? Why? Like, because you're incapable of it?
Well, yeah, the thing to me about that was, like, I agree with that assessment, but also, like, if you agree with that assessment, why are you there?
Yeah, you don't say it.
You know what I mean? Like, you're not supposed to, like, you can't, it's not even about you don't say it. Like, I feel like the person in charge of that situation shouldn't even believe that. Because then what are you doing? I believe that. I personally, like, and I've been on the record multiple times where I just, like, I feel like really since the Xbox One, there was really no way that they were going to come out of that. Like, that was the digital library. And, like, even he said it. Like, Phil Spencer said it. And I was like, why are you saying this? It's crazy. But even so, you got to have a guy who thinks that losing is not possible. Or at the very least is willing to project that image, you know, to the best of his ability, that it kind of spreads. Like, look, I don't know what game development is like. I don't know what morale at studios is like, but, like, I would have to imagine that if you're working at Xbox Game Studios and you're like, and you hear the main guy go, oh, we lost the worst generation. It's kind of over. I can't imagine that that's like a fantastic thing to be hearing. Maybe it is because, like, you know, you're in Microsoft and there's like some level of just like, oh, well, they're just going to keep doing this. And eventually we'll do multi-platform games, and we kind of want our games everywhere anyway because we're developers. So, like, maybe it doesn't bother you ultimately because maybe that's the lens that you're looking at it through. But I don't know, man. Your head guy shouldn't be saying that shit. Even if it's a lie. I mean, you're paid to lie anyway. Like, that's what you do. But just weird. Just very bizarre choice. Come out and say that.
It should be clear also, and I want to say this to be honest and fair, is like my contempt for that leadership oozes out of my pores because of all the shit that leaked during the FTC trial. Like, I said it from the beginning, these guys have no strategy, no taste.
Oh, they were looking to buy Sega and... Yeah.
We can spend Sony out of business, is what Matt Booty said in an email. Okay. How did that go? I just feel like there was no, like, remember we would make fun of it, that emails, like, here are all the acquisition targets. Every company, like, literally you couldn't even name a company that wasn't in that list. Here are all the acquisition targets we're vetting. Everyone. It's like, oh, cool. You guys are really, like, in it for, like, some sort of creative purpose, or you believe that some sort of creative theory will net you. I mean, it's a business. You want to make money. It was so... Like, how can these guys be looked at as serious players? How can these guys be looked at? And I'm not saying Xbox is a brand. I'm saying those people. It's like, how have you not just resign. Like, I would be so embarrassed if if I was in that position and people knew that I said that, where it's like, yeah, we will just buy anything. And by the way, it shows. I've been saying that from the very beginning. Like, it shows. The acquisitions are incoherent. Activision's not even in the beginning of it. It's like all these random studios. It's like, okay, because it was clear that they just went to anyone and were like, "What do you want?" And some went with them and some didn't. And much like, unfortunately, what's happening with Facebook, Sanzaro was closed down, which is the developers of Sly Cooper. You go with the wrong partner and you can pay the price, and the studio pays the price. The people that sold the company didn't pay any sort of price, but so we'll see what happens. But if those sales numbers are true, Microsoft is eating shit with Call of Duty. Not even like close to being even in terms of finances are concerned. And it makes you wonder what moves they're going to make, because this is not sustainable. It's sustainable in the real in that they could take money from Peter to pay Paul or whatever. But if you want Paul to be self-sustaining, then you're going to have to cut a lot of heads, and you're going to have to think about a different way forward. And I agree with you, is like, going away is the best idea. Because the one thing that they have, and this is why I contend that, like, is a game like Fortnite permanent. Right? I mean, like, forever, like 50 years from now. And there's a lot of juice and a lot of energy in something that is multi-generational, not by console, but by person, that has just been present. And if it goes away and comes back, it's going to scratch, like, someone's going to be nostalgic about that. Actually, tens of millions of people. And so if you just, like, go away and come back at the launch of PS6 or something, and it's like, here's a new Call of Duty experience, and we've really put our all into this, and it's the most robust, amazing thing you've ever seen, because we had time to fucking think. Because they would just throw bodies at these things. It's hard to do. It's hard to make 3 games at a time. That's what they do. That's what they do. It's really fucking hard.
So I get those AI cards.
Right, exactly.
It's ridiculous.
And so, but I'm telling you, if these numbers are true, and I believe they're 100% accurate, because Bobby Kotick would absolutely know. He knows everything. Like you don't think he doesn't know everything that's going on there? So of course he does. Yeah. So
if they're not literally true, they're true enough to be irrelevant to even argue. You know?
Right. Exactly.
Maybe it's 61% or like 59. Or something, you know?
Right. Exactly. No, you're absolutely right. Because there's some kids like, how would Bobby know? And it's like, are you fucking kidding? Just because he's not officially there anymore, I'm sure he can get whatever he wants. So, because I mean, like, these are people that a lot of these people owe him everything.
Yeah.
Like that, he's the one that saved Activision, and then he's the one that hired all of them. So if he's on the phone, it's like, so what's going on? I mean, I used to do that. I knew everything that was going on at IGN for years.
Yeah. What's the idiom? The phrase, like, hand a company a Call of Duty and he eats for 1 year?
That is it.
Teach a man to Call of Duty. Eats for a lifetime.
Teach a man to Call of Duty. Sounds like you're having a stroke. All right, a couple more things to get through, and then we can get into what we're playing, and we can wrap things up with listener inquiries. New PlayStation Plus game catalog games for the extra and premium tiers. These games are added to the list and will be available as of the 20th of January. And obviously certain other games will be leaving the list as well. The big addition here is Resident Evil 8, Resident Evil Village, as a prelude to Resident Evil 9, right? Resident Evil Requiem, which is coming out very soon, in February. So that's a big addition. Another big addition, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, for both PS5 and PS4. And by the way, Resident Evil's on PS5, PS4 as well. Another big game is Expeditions, a Mud Runner game for PS5 and PS4. Those games are quietly very big. Do you guys ever see any of these games, like Mud Runner, Snow Runner?
I know of them.
They're like big games. I think that's some of the biggest stuff Embracer does now.
I kind of want to play one of these. Sounds fun.
I played Snow Runner.
Satisfying like Death Stranding, right?
It's like a very serious driving game, like where you have to like use like winches and different sorts of tires. And I played Snow Runner, and it is really cool, but it is very serious in that like it is what it is. But I can see exactly why people would enjoy it. Because it's a high quality version of those games. Usually those kinds of games, like the simulator games, are not very high quality. It's like a high quality, high produced version of it.
Visually, it looks incredible, actually.
Less prominent, A Quiet Place: The Road Ahead. I know you've been looking forward to playing this, Chris, and the single-player horror adventure game is available on PS5 for you. Darkest Dungeon 2. I played Darkest Dungeon 1, but I think on Vita. But I don't think I got very far in it. Did you?
So hard, dude.
Yeah.
It's so hard. I haven't played the second. I never beat the first one because I'm not smart enough for it.
So that's available PS5 and PS4. The Exit 8, which had like a little bit of a moment.
Yeah.
It's good. It's only $3, so
Not really worth being a plus. Yeah.
Yeah, I recommend it. I had a really fun hour and a half with it, but it's cool. It's neat.
And this is one of those games that had like a copy of it where it was like, 8 exit or something like that with like the same icon. It's like, all right, guys.
Yeah.
Art of Rally is out on PS5 and PS4. A Little to the Left will be available on PlayStation Plus Extra. And then finally, the only retro game this month is the original Ridge Racer. PS1.
Ridge Racer.
Which will be on PS5 and PS4 as well. So disappointing level of retro support, but nice game catalog additions. Resident Evil, burped from Yakuza, and so on and so forth. Or Like a Dragon, I'm sorry.
Take it easy.
So those will be available if you're a PlayStation Plus Extra or Premium member as of January 20th. And finally, Sony released the best-selling PlayStation Store games top downloads of 2025. So usually we go through these month by month, but now we have yearly charts. So here are the biggest games of note on PlayStation Network in the United States and Canada combined for the year of 2025. NBA 2K26. Most downloaded game. What do you think of that?
It's funny just because I don't know anyone who plays that game. But I'm also Western PA and no one cares about basketball.
Well, it's also funny because everyone seems to hate the NBA now. I know you guys don't follow sports, but people kind of hate the NBA now. Like it's definitely in a massive decline. I don't know how. Do you guys know anything about like what's happening with like where people are shooting a shit ton of threes now? And it's like totally changed the game. Like what people have analytically figured out is like you should just shoot threes. And even though you miss most of them, you'll just score more points. And so if you there's like I got to send you some of the clips because it's fucking hysterical. Like back and forth, like over and over again, these guys just throwing bricks. And like this is like what the NBA becomes instead of like settling down in the zone, passing the ball around, like trying to get close to the basket. Right. And everyone's really critical of it. So this is all happening. This discourse is happening at the same time that NBA 2K26 is the biggest game on PlayStation 5. Okay. Can't really square that. Battlefield 6, number 2. What do you think of that?
Yep.
Pretty good.
There it is.
Number 3, Grand Theft Auto 5. And then 4 and 5, college football and Madden. So 3 sports games in the top 5 and a game from 2013. And then number 6, Minecraft. And then number 7, Black Ops 7. Number 8, Arc Raiders. Yeah, well, you said ouch. I mean, that's unprecedentedly low for Call of Duty.
Yeah.
And what's funny is Black Ops 6 is only a few down from there on the list. But let's see, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So Ghost of Yotei was 9. MLB The Show was 10. Ready or Not at 12. That game was quietly very big on a console. Forza Horizon 5 at 14. Now, this is where some people are starting to contest Alinia's numbers because this suggests that it didn't sell 5 million copies, right, on PS5, but or maybe around there. But because they have Elder Scrolls Oblivion at 1 million, and that's at 16 on this list, and then Assassin's Creed Shadows at 17, Clair Obscur at 18. And Monster Hunter Wilds falling all the way down to 19. Did you guys see that thing about Monster Hunter Wilds DLC and all that? Do you think that's real, Dustin? Can you explain that to the audience?
Okay, this is just from looking at a few tweets, so don't take my word as gospel. But to my understanding is that someone figured out that in the PC version of Monster Hunter Wilds, the game does a check where it checks how much DLC you have downloaded. And it runs this check regularly as you play, probably as some kind of, I would assume, some kind of like pseudo DRM, just to make sure, like, oh, do you have this before you go into a world or something. So what someone did is that they went and spoofed it to make it look like they had every piece of DLC that they ever released. and the game was running like 30 frames higher. Like in this example, it was like going from 25 to 30 frames per second to like 55 for owning all the DLC.
Crazy.
I'm gonna give Capcom the benefit of the doubt. This is not intentional. That owning more games gets you better performance, but wow, huge oversight. Hopefully they fix that.
Funny. And it's so that the story of that game I think is interesting because it's obviously critically or commercially very successful. People liked it at first, but it's a poster child for this era of ephemeral presence. No matter how big your game is, it just doesn't have presence because there's just too much going on. And I always just bring up Silksong as an example of that. That game has no presence.
Yeah.
What happened? What are you laughing at?
Nothing. I got a DM. It's completely irrelevant.
All right, let's get into what we're playing. My friends, as we begin what we're playing, let's go to Dustin first because he's playing Kingdom Hearts 2. I want to hear about your adventures.
Yeah.
2005 PS2 game. You're playing it on what? PS4?
I am playing it on PS4. When I played Kingdom Hearts 1, I played it the PC version. But I've noticed it's kind of, when I played the first one, it was kind of buggy in certain ways. Like the frame rate was weird and a couple audio glitches. So I just decided to stick with Old Faithful PlayStation for Kingdom Hearts 2. And yeah, I decided to go into this just because I was feeling it. I wanted to replay the whole series before Kingdom Hearts 4 anyway. Am I potentially replaying way too fucking early? Probably. Because I'm guessing Kingdom Hearts 4 is not coming out this year. Maybe next year. But this game, as I was telling Colin earlier in the show, is the peak of the series. And there are other great games in the franchise. Birth by Sleep, Kingdom Hearts 3, also amazing. But 2 is really where it feels like one of those sequels. Like people always reference Assassin's Creed to Assassin's Creed 2 as like one of the great sequels. I feel like Kingdom Hearts 2 is that as well in terms of the different worlds you get to go to, and especially after playing Kingdom Hearts 1 right before it, seeing it directly how improved they are, but not just like the combat, but what you're doing in the worlds is much more interesting. The story gets a lot more wacky in the second game in a way that I find really entertaining. And across the board, it's funny, and I was trying to figure this out because when we were playing Kingdom Hearts 1, I feel like I remembered it way more than I'm remembering Kingdom Hearts 2. Because the last time I played this was either in 2017 or 2018 before 3 came out. And so it wasn't that long ago, but there are parts where I'm like, I have no memory of this at all as I'm playing it. I have no memory of this specific part.
There's that meme of, was it Gandalf?
Gandalf, yeah. I have no memory of this place. That's how I feel, dude, playing parts of Kingdom Hearts 2. So I'm having a nice time with it. I like that specifically in contrasting Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, everyone focuses on the combat for a reason. It has such a great progression of when you start the game, Sora's like pretty limited in his moveset and his combos and his jump. And you are leveling up in this game all the time. Not too much, but as you level up, you unlock more ways to customize your combat, more combos, more special abilities. And it's like, yeah, you could see that Kingdom Hearts 1 wasn't the full vision of the combat. They were figuring things out. But yeah, I am absolutely loving it. Some of the Disney worlds in this game are so cool, to the point where I know you can't spoil a game this old, but there are some that I don't think you know about, Colin. So I'm not going to say them, but there are some ones that I'm like, wow, that's...
Please don't spoil Kingdom Hearts 2 for
I
me.
will not spoil Kingdom Hearts 2. But maybe here's what I'll say. There are certain worlds in Kingdom Hearts 2 that they go into live action Disney movies. And it's neat. It's pretty cool. So that's about it. All I'm playing right now. I'm just kind of taking it easy, desperately awaiting some games coming out.
Yeah, there's nothing to really That's why I feel like I'm in no urgent rush right now. I mean, there are many things that I could play.
Oh yeah.
Nothing like coming out on this ever-ending rotisserie of games that's going to begin with Resident Evil. Because it really put
Dragon Quest. Are you gonna play?
No, I'm not
Dragon
gonna
Quest?
play. I'm not. I will. I'd like to at some point, but I didn't even finish 3, and I didn't even get to 1 and 2. I don't want to get too ahead of myself, and then play the one that's even fucking longer than that. It seems to be a death knell. But yeah, no, that's gonna be a big one for sure. Kingdom Hearts.
Death knell. That's so dramatic.
Chris, let's go to you. Destiny 1.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, I think honestly, the rumblings of The Division coming back kind of got me in like this weird nostalgic mood for these like early PS4 generation kind of live service attempts that perhaps were better than I might remember, or perhaps worse, and I wasn't sure. It'd been a long time. I haven't played Destiny 1 since probably just before Destiny 2, so like literally 2017 probably was the last time I even remotely dabbled. So it's been 9 years. So it's been a long ass time. And I booted it up out of curiosity, also because I saw that it was like, I think $6 for like all of it. You could like the Destiny collection, I think it's like, so every single DLC, all of it from beginning to end. It doesn't have this weird vaulting problem that Destiny 2 has, because Destiny 2's been alive and supported for a lot longer, so you can play through the entirety of Destiny 1. And I thought, like, you know what, I don't know how deep I'll get into this, but I'm kind of curious. I'm into the idea of kind of revisiting this. And so I started it up again, and yeah, man, there's I don't know what you call it, but there's like a vibe to the original Destiny 1, or like an atmosphere, like with music and tone, that I find quite refreshing and endearing. There's something about it. It's a lot slower. That's something that's so funny about like looking back at it. It's like Destiny 2 is so fast in comparison. Like Destiny 2 is like damn near Tony Hawk pro skate. Like it's jet set radio, people zipping around, teleporting, flying all over the place, doing crazy trick shots and particle effects exploding every which way. And there's a fair bit of like, explosions. Obviously, it's a first-person shooter, sci-fi magic game, but it's a lot slower paced. It's a lot more deliberate. It feels a lot more like oh man, how would I even describe it? It just feels more firmly planted. Like your jump isn't insane, and you're not stupid strong. And it's funny listening to some of the cutscenes in retrospect now, where like they're talking about how like the whole premise of the first Destiny is that you're starting off on the back foot and you're kind of like trying to rebuild. And like one of the main guys in the beginning, early on, he says, "We used to be much more powerful." And I'm like, yeah. Well, don't worry, we get there. It gets. Don't even worry about it. Right. But I like the more stripped down nature of it. It actually reminds me a lot more of like what the version of Marathon that exists right now is, a lot slower and like a lot more like kind of pared back. So it was a little bit of a window into that, but yeah, it plays really well. I dig the music. I like that it's like a sequential kind of story. I do remember that ultimately nothing happens in the story, but it's still kind of fun knowing where it goes and kind of having the context of all of this time. A little bit of a bummer that it only runs at 30 frames. I think there's a reason for that. I think back then things were like certain animations were tied to frame rates or something like that. Like some weird reason why it's not like it doesn't see a boost from any modern hardware. But so that's kind of rough to get used to. The low FOV is there also from being only a console game. And there's little quality of life changes that I wish that I'm like, oh, I miss this in Destiny 2, where like in order to go to any other planet from anywhere, you have to go to orbit first. So you have to like load into space and then go where you want. It's like, that's a little clunky, but I'm finding a lot that I like in Destiny 1. Like there is kind of like this, I wonder what I'm gonna get kind of feeling, and it is a lot stingier with the loot that you get. Like I find myself getting excited over shit that I would just immediately trash in Destiny 2 because I'm just like, oh, that's a green weapon, I'm not gonna use that. But some of them are pretty good, and like the way the weapon unlock system is completely different. Like normally or even in parts of D1, you know, you'd get a weapon and it kind of does all that it's going to do. You can upgrade, like, I guess the effectiveness of it. But in D1, like, you have to unlock every single feature of it through using it. So, like, if you get like a nice weapon with like a crazy ability, you kind of have to use it a shit ton before that cool ability even is usable to you. And I think that's kind of interesting. I'm kind of into the multifaceted leveling system there. I'm still pretty early on. I'm jumping into it at night as I kind of like go to bed. And so I'm only on the moon now, which is only like the second place you go to, but the one thing that I'm finding about it is like, man, this is so much more approachable than Destiny 2 is. Because Destiny 2 starts off and it shows that before you even consent, it's like, here's a cutscene of the latest thing that's happening. And now here's a mission about the cutscene. Oh, you've never played before? Tough. It's crazy. And like Destiny 1 starts off and you're like, yeah, make your character and you'll start off from the beginning and you can play to the end. And it's, I don't know, it is nice. It really is just because I'm kind of like, I'm jonesing for Marathon right now and this is kind of the closest thing I can get to it. But I'm enjoying it more than I anticipated enjoying it, and I'm playing it for a lot longer than I anticipated playing it. I thought I would maybe like kind of jump into it and be curious a little bit and just be like, oh, I wonder what this gun feels like. Oh, neat. But I am kind of going through the story, and from what I recall, it's not that long, so maybe I'll end up beating it. But it's a nice stroll down memory lane, and it kind of reminds me of there was something special about both The Division and Destiny around this time, where like these kinds of games didn't really know what they were yet, and so they kind of didn't fall into the understood like expectations of what you would get from games like these. Like those hadn't been established yet, so you can kind of feel. You can kind of feel the ghost of you know, previous generations of like first-person shooters kind of like haunting the area of this ultimately like new kind of genre, new kind of play space, and it's neat. It's got really strong art direction, really strong sound design. It's a really beautiful game, actually, in retrospect, especially now knowing where it all goes, and now that it's not just kind of sitting there unfinished in some sense. I appreciate it a lot more now, but. That's really it. I'm playing a couple other things that I didn't really feel was worth kind of... Like, I'm playing Mega Man 9 a little bit, also.
Oh, cool.
Just because I'm in a bit of a Mega Man... I don't know. Mega Man X, I'm so shit at it. I don't know. I just, like, I couldn't... I was getting my ass kicked, so I was just like, maybe I'll really work my way up to this, maybe. And so I'm playing Mega Man 9 again. Still getting trounced, but getting further along in my progress in Mega Man 9, which is not new for me. Sheepman?
Sheepman's in Mega Man 10, I guess. Yeah, he's not.
Yeah, no. Sheepman is Mega Man 9 is like Plugman.
Yeah, Plugman.
And
right, yeah.
That's the only one that I've been like.
Splash
playing.
Woman, I think, is one of them.
Splash Woman is in there.
Yeah.
I dig it. But yeah, I'm kind of like just feeling my way back into playing games. The next thing I really want to get to, really, and it's sitting here on my computer, is Chronos, because I know I'm gonna like it. I really gotta set. This is like a mood thing. It's a mood thing for a game like that. Like I want to be hungry for some like horror, and I don't know if I'm there, but I think I'm getting there. So that's kind of the next on my list before Resident Evil comes out. But yeah, that's kind of it.
Cool. For me, I've just been spending the last week with Mega Man 11. I beat it. I'm working on all the trophies, so I got Did I talk last week about Dr. Light's trial? I don't remember what I even talked about last week, but I got the trophy for Dr. Light's trial in Mega Man 11, and that's probably the hardest gameplay related trophy I've ever gotten. Or one of them. It's one of the rarest trophies I have. 0.3% of people that have played the game. So there's another 0.3% trophy on Mega Man 11, which is to beat it in under an hour, and I'm working on that now. The good news is that you can save after every stage, so you can kind of like manage your time, and if you don't like it, you just go back to your previous save and try the stage again. I'm running pretty late, and I don't know if I'm really gonna be able to do it, but I'm still trying to figure out. It's so much harder. Like Mega Man 9 and 10 have similar challenges, and they're so much easier to beat in an hour. Like no problem at all. This is gonna be a lot tighter because it's a lot more of a dynamic game, but I'm enjoying playing it and seeing it for what it is. I feel like it's not, and I talked about this, so people can listen to my deep dive on Mega Man on Summon Sign, by the way, which will go live next week, I guess. on all 11 Mega Man games because we get into all of it. But it doesn't feel like a Mega Man game, really, like a classic Mega Man game. It's got too much going on for it to be a classic Mega Man game, and I think I'll be interested to see with this upcoming one next year what their kind of take is on that. Are they going to go more traditional, or are they going to continue to kind of buff this thing out? Because I always felt like Mega Man X was the elaborate classic Mega Man game. You know, you have like some side things and optional things and armor pieces to find, and you get stronger and all the rest. And Mega Man 1 or the Mega Man Classic games were supposed to be a little bit more straightforward and gameplay oriented. And Phil wrote in and said, Colin, do you find that returning to simple skill and gameplay-driven games helps reset your desire to dive back into modern AAA fare? I know you have been indulging in Mega Man recently, as well as Terminator No Fate. I am close to completing Link's Awakening for the first time. I find playing classic 2D or even some modern indie games can help remind me of the essence of why we are here, gameplay. Yeah, I like balance. I don't want to say that I am here still to this day for gameplay, because I don't know that that's entirely true. I like a lot of things about games, and I always say that like a game doesn't even have to be fun to be good. It's all about the overall package. But there's no doubt that the era in which we all come from and that I grew up playing games in was really all about gameplay and using one's imagination to fill in the gaps. And so going back and playing the classic Mega Man games, or even a game like Mega Man 11 that's newer but still gameplay oriented, is refreshing. And there's a place for those kinds of games with a little bit of story and a little bit of plot and some environmental storytelling, but it's really all about the experience of play. But what I love about games is that games are about a lot more than that now. I don't think that walking simulators are fun. I think they're engaging and interesting, right? Like they can be, not all of them, obviously. But when I play, you know, Gone Home or whatever, it's like, this is, am I having, oh, this is so fun. No, like that's not what I was thinking. I was like, wow, this is intriguing. This is interesting. Right. So what I'm saying is I don't want to sell out and say, yeah, it's all about gameplay. Gameplay first. Gameplay is king ultimately, I think. But really, you can just say interactivity is king, because a game like Pentiment is interesting and I'm enjoying it, but I don't think it's fun.
Yeah.
I think those are just different things. So I'm not saying you're saying that, Phil, but I just want to make sure I'm clarifying. So yeah, for playing a game like Mega Man 11 is a nice, and just all the Mega Man games is a nice palate cleanser to, as has already been said by Chris and Dustin, just kind of waiting for what's beyond the next hill. Although there are some games I really need to go back and play as well. So I'm going to be done with Mega Man 11 soon, I hope. And then I don't know what I'm going to go to. I've been thinking about Hell Is Us. And I've been thinking about Final Fantasy Tactics. So I think I will go in one of those directions. I think we could imagine that will happen. But that's all I have for what we're playing, which means we get into listener inquiries to wrap this thing up. 6 questions, comments, concerns, thoughts, and ideas from the audience over on Patreon. Patreon.com/LastStandMedia. You submit your inquiries to the threads for the various shows in the newsfeed each week. And then we pick through those. You've heard your inquiries throughout the show. Here are 6 more, of course. And yeah, go to any of the shows. You don't have to just do Sacred Symbols if you want to submit to other shows as well. Sacred's threads go live on Wednesdays and are deleted Thursdays, so you have about 24 hours. Kenny Roberts wrote in and said, greetings, Sacred Lads. This one's for Colin. With Platinum number 200 coming up, do you have any specific games in mind for the big milestone? Personally, for my 100, I went for Kingdom Hearts 2, as it was a seminal game in my childhood, and it felt good to go back to the old days now with an implemented trophy system. So will you go for something nostalgic, difficult, perhaps one you've been meaning to play for a long time, or just a random game? I'll slowly reach for an officer's firearm and listen. Suicide by Cop? Gotta be careful.
There's that. Do you know that image? What you know? Jamiroquai, right? You know that famous video that he did where he was like the moving furniture.
Oh yeah.
Virtual insanity. There's this great scene where he's like sliding up to the camera with his hand open. And my favorite version of that is like there's a police guy with a gun. it's just him reaching to that fucking music.
Virtual Insanity. I remember that video. That was a cool video. Back in the day. Yeah. I don't know any other song by him.
He did Canned Heat, which is the dance in Napoleon Dynamite, which is the only other one. It's the only other one that I know.
Interesting. But yeah, I remember he was wearing one of those very 90s hats in the video.
Yeah, it's like a fuzzy, it's a ridiculous top hat.
Right. So I don't know what I'm going to do. My 100th platinum was Twin Breaker. I did that intentionally because that was the first game I wrote and I wanted to commemorate that. So now we're at number 200. I'm at 197. My suspicion is Mega Man 11 will be 198. And then we'll see what happens from there. I do have an idea of what I want to do, and it would be an interesting stream. Do I have the thing still? And Dustin, it would be a reason for us to use this that I bought a long time ago.
Oh, yeah, the PS3, the
The Last of Us.
HDCP remover.
The Last of Us, the original The
Oh.
Last of Us, would be an interesting 200 because I had the platinum in The Last of Us Part 1 and the platinum in The Last of Us Part 2 twice. But I don't have the platinum in the original The Last of Us, which is funny because I have all of the hardest trophies. All the online trophies are done. I did them back in the day when I was still when I was really good at online because I was playing it for so long. So I got those trophies quick when it came out because I was still good before
Yeah.
everyone got better than me. That was probably the best I was ever at an online game, like comparable to the environment in which I was playing. Because I'm always, I say before, like if I'm 1-to-1 kill to death ratio, I'm feeling good, like about my performance in any given game. So I was like way above that and that. So I have those trophies, and those are the really time-consuming ones. I think each of them take 40 hours to get because you have to get 2 of them. And you have to play as the Fireflies and as the Survivors or whatever. So what I'm thinking is maybe we'll hook up the PS3 and do that. And I was looking, I have a save in the cloud, I believe, of a beaten game, and I think what I have to do is beat it on New Game Plus at the hardest difficulty level. So that could be an interesting series of streams. And playing it on PS3 is going to be rough, but
Yeah.
it'll probably be very nostalgic and interesting. So maybe that will be the idea. It could be a random one too, but I feel like that's kind of lame. It's not lame. It's like, who cares really? But you should commemorate it. It's a big number. 200 is a big number. So
It is
that's
crazy.
kind of, Kenny, that's my plan in my mind right now is to kind of maybe think about doing The Last of Us Part 1. And I have to find a copy of it because I think my copy of it, I probably have it somewhere, but that might be a Dagan's. So we'll see what happens. All right. Rob Persglove wrote in and said, hello, Sacred Trio. Colin, out of the games that you have or are going to release from Lilymo, which do you think would make sense to have DLC? Is this something you have ever considered? For Chris and Bustin' Dustin, what game do you wish had DLC that never got any? Thank you, and have a Maddie Genshin Impact video kind of day. What does that mean? Maddie Genshin Impact video?
No idea.
I have no, the lore's too deep on that.
Genshin Impact. It came up automatically.
That's hilarious. What could that possibly be?
Yeah, this doesn't have 23,000 views from a few years ago. I don't know what this is a reference to.
I don't know. Maybe he crashes out. I don't know.
He crashes. Yeah.
Who knows? I don't know.
So
If it was just a normal video, like it would be weird to reference. You know what I mean?
now I'm not a huge expansion or DLC guy, although there are expansions and DLC that I really enjoy, especially if I'm playing a game later. I love that. You're like,
Yeah.
I think about going back to Fallout 4 sometimes, and I'm like, what would be really nice about this is it's all there.
Right.
I've even been thinking about playing Oblivion lately because I've been watching. Mike has been playing it on Xbox, and I'm like, this kind of looks cool. I've never played it. Am I nerdy enough for it? I don't know. I heard it's kind of simple. That's what she was saying. Is like it's kind of simple and straightforward, and I don't know if that's quite what I'm looking for right now. But so I don't want to say I'm the biggest expansion or DLC person, but I'm wondering, Dustin, do you have any games that could have gotten expansions that didn't, or that you would have wanted to have more, or are you kind of just ready to move on from game to game?
Yeah, well, I'm not really a DLC guy almost at all because there are even games that I really love that I never checked out DLC or just have moved on. So I want to amend the question slightly. And, you know, I'm going to just say I'm allowed to do that.
Yeah, sure.
Sorry, Rob. My answer, I was thinking about The Witcher getting its DLC 10 years later or whatever. The game that I would want more DLC from, because this game did have technically DLC, that was before the era of DLC, is that I would love for there to be an expansion to Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 that adds modern roller coasters and updated AI to the game. I don't know how possible that would be because the game was coded by one dude in assembly, and I'm pretty sure he is long retired at this point. He just kind of checked out, made his money, sold everything off to I think Atari owns it now. So Jason, I know you're listening.
Jason Polanski,
Make
son of a gun.
Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 DLC with modern roller coasters and rides happen. Please.
Interesting. Chris, anything for you for DLC expansions? Anything that was never touched that you'd like to be touched?
I was thinking about it, and I just like, I'm very much like, this is a very non-DLC oriented crowd. I feel like this group of people you got up here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not really that person either. Like even the Dishonored is a game I love. I loved the original Dishonored. That has a really well loved DLC that I've never played because I'm just like, oh, I don't know. There's something about it. I grew up in a time when like you'd get a game on disc and that was kind of the game. You know, like it was, and even on cartridge early on, and so I kind of view DLC the way I view director's cuts, in the sense of like it's cool that it's there, but fundamentally it's not, like holistically it's not what the movie is. So like I don't know if I really care that much about it. Like even if it is great and better and like all that stuff, like I think there's a version of Spider-Man, there's Spider-Man 2.1 that exists, which is like a director's cut or something, and there's a bunch more scenes in it, alternate takes, a little bit more of certain fights and stuff, and I'm just like, I've seen it, and you know, there's more of it, and in some ways it's better, but like it's not the version, it's not what I think about when I think about Spider-Man 2. So like that's kind of how I feel about DLC, where I'm like, I'm not really that grabbed by it. But one thing I will say, it would have been cool, of the DLCs that I did engage in, it would have been cool to get more, although you're being greedy at this point with this game, but like it would have been cool to get more Grand Theft Auto 4. Because I did think Lost in the Damned and Ballad of Gay Tony were so good and were so interesting and were so weird that like I wouldn't have minded seeing more of that. I don't know what you would have done, I guess. But I think ultimately at the end of the day, I'd rather a follow-up or a sequel than, you know, here's a DLC pack. A standalone DLC is different. I'm all right with that, but just not big on the concept as a whole.
As far as what he's asking me about DLC on my own games, or the games that Lily Mode does, we have released DLC, although they're really updates and they're free. Super Perils of Baking got an update with another trophy. And then Herbroxia 2, we added an arcade mode and put trophies on it as well. So we've never had paid expansions, and I don't know that it would be really appropriate for a $10 games to have paid expansions. Maybe it would be, I mean. But yeah, I'm just not, I want complete experiences, and if anything, the emphasis on expansions has only pushed me towards putting games off, knowing that they'll be more complete later and that I won't miss anything about them. And even standalone stuff, it's hard to get me back in. That's what happened with Cyberpunk. Like, I thought Cyberpunk was fucking awesome. Like, I thought that game was awesome. And so playable and so interesting and so dynamic and so fun. And then the Phantom Liberty stuff comes up and I'm like, I don't know, man, I'm not really in it anymore. And I know people are like, oh yeah, just play it again and get back into it. I'm like, I just don't want to. It's like, I think it's great. I'm not really in that mode right now. So it makes me want to just kind of delay things a little bit. Because it's funny, like when I went to play Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut, I had not played it on PS5, I played it on PS4, and when Iki Island came out, as we knew at the time, I never went back and played it, so it was cool to be able to do that in the game and to actually integrate the experience too. Because that's the other thing, is like, it's hard to, Mass Effect was like this too, where it would be like missions would pop up that are like expansion missions, and you can kind of integrate them into the entire experience, but if you've beaten the game already, then you're going back and doing this shit, and it doesn't really make any sense. There's like no context for it. I think that's why the second Horizon game had that end game expansion. That was like not so, because I think Iki Island was kind of a little weird, where it's like you're going and doing this wholly other thing, this other place. It's like, I don't know. It kind of breaks the entire experience for me. Jonathan Turner wrote in and said, hello, Sacred Symbols team. I recently had some family over, and with a number of kids in the house, they naturally gravitated towards my retro gaming room. My nephews and little brother jumped on the Xbox 360, while my 4-year-old niece made a beeline straight for the SNES and Super Mario World. Here's where I need guidance. She struggled to clear the very first level. This immediately raised some concerns for me, because I'm fairly certain I was clearing that level at her age with ease, likely while holding a Capri Sun and solving Cold Fusion in my head. My question is simple. Should I continue to love her, or is it time to quietly cut off the relationship due to this early and troubling lack of platforming fundamentals? Looking forward to your expert advice, and thank you for everything you do and for your donation. Thank you. for writing in. You have to nurture this girl, Jonathan. Think about the taste that she exhibited. Your nephews and little brother, as dumb as they are, went to the Xbox 360, and this little 4-year-old girl bypassed all of the bells and whistles and went straight to the SNES. You have to nurture, protect, raise up this little girl because she has that inherent taste that is so, she's got that Nintendo taste. She wants to play Super Mario World. Teach her, show her how to play. I was playing games, no doubt, at 4 years old, like at not the highest level in the world, but certainly not. Mario World wasn't out when I was 4, but as an example. So she just has to learn, and she will learn, but you got to teach her. Nurture that little girl, Jonathan. Nurture her, please, and those other. What were they playing on Xbox 360? Geometry Wars?
Nah, man.
Doubt.
Prototype.
Prototype 1.
Or something weird like Blur. I gotta get a 360, man. There's a lot of weird titles on that machine.
The black Xbox 360 like revision is a pretty solid piece of hardware, right? Like as far as
the 2010 one where
the solid state one.
That's a sexy machine, I gotta say. That's the best Xbox has ever looked. But yeah, maybe I'll just make what could it be, like, what was it, $200 maybe max?
Yeah, you could probably even go to GameStop and get one.
Yeah, maybe I'll do that. But,
so yeah, that's all I wanted to say. I don't know if you guys have anything to say. Is that like you should love her.
Yeah, teach her.
Don't cut her off.
Yeah, teach her. Like the thing that got my nieces and nephews into it when they were kids was watching me play. So like they would see me play and they'd be like, "Oh, I want to try." The fact that she made a beeline for it without that, or I guess presumably she's seen you play. Just I don't know, encourage it. It's cool that she even cares.
Yeah.
It's
not an iPad.
Right. It's not Roblox.
That's what I was going to say.
Right. Yeah. Like, what are you doing?
If you discourage her, you know where she's going next? Roblox, Fortnite. And don't fail like I did. As I mentioned last week with my little cousin that told me we need to stream Steal a Brain Rot in order to get views on our stream. So you have an opportunity here. Don't fuck it up. Or else. And honestly, if she goes to Roblox, you're putting her in danger. There's all those predators on there.
That's
you
a
could
good
be
point.
saving her.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So don't be like me and guide properly.
That's a good point.
There's no 45-year-old on mic on Super Mario World.
I'm gonna engineer your child, Dustin, to be the biggest Mega Man fan in the world. Come here, little boy or girl.
Or girl.
Come here, little girl. This is Crash Man from
Crash
Mega
Man.
Man 2. These are crash bombs.
I love the naming. That's such straightforward names.
Yeah,
These
it's
are
good shit.
crash bombs.
Crash
Man. I love it. Good stuff.
Jason Vanover wrote in, said, "Howdy, boys. Don't know if you've tuned in to the season 2 of Fallout, but I'm pretty confident in saying it's eclipsed The Last of Us as the best video game TV show adaptation. Season 1 of The Last of Us notwithstanding, they've absolutely nailed the tone, violence, and dread of the post-apocalyptic wasteland of New Vegas. I was curious to see if you guys have checked it out. I have not, which is weird because I have Amazon, but I'm not that big of a Fallout fan. And I don't know that I like the act. Fallout 3, as I've said specifically, came out at a very specific time where it really enchanted me because I had never played anything like it. Where I was like, what the fuck is this? This is crazy.
Yeah.
I've never played anything like this in my life. And New Vegas was only 2 years later, so it wasn't that far off, and I think New Vegas is an awesome game. But I think by the time Fallout 4 came out in 2015, it definitely had lost its luster for me. And I don't know, I like post-apocalyptic American shit. I mean, that's my stuff, but I don't really like Fallout for that reason. So I think for that reason, I'm not that compelled by it. And yet, people speak highly of it. So I'm sure one day, I'll tune in, but I have not watched it yet. Are you guys caught up with Fallout?
There's an episode today that I haven't seen, but I'm caught up with it. I like Fallout. I've always been. I wouldn't call myself like the biggest Fallout fan. Arguably, I've only really beaten Fallout 4. Like I played 3 in New Vegas pretty extensively, but like those games crash and are so like unreliable. It's kind of crazy. So like I've always just been thrown off of those games. I still am playing New Vegas kind of right now, or trying to. But I like the vibe of Fallout a lot. There is something about the atmosphere of like it's a wasteland, and there's like it's Bing Crosby through like kind of like a shitty radio, and like there's like these weird like mental cases running around. Like there's something, I don't know. I dig it. I dig the fusion of survival game, old radio, retro future, 1950s. There is something special about it that I think is as a sauce, like I really like. And so I'm into it. I think the show's great. I think the season's actually kind of like, look, I don't want to say the season's bad. I think the season so far is pretty good. It's fun. Like everybody does a good job. I do feel like I'm noticing the Netflix writing though. Like because I feel like there are points that are made. Like there's a character that says basically like you're me, just give it a little time. And I feel like it's been said at least like maybe twice in every episode. It feels like, I could be literally wrong about that, but I'm like, this is definitely like people have their phones out. You know what I mean? And they're writing for those people. And that's kind of bothering me a little bit, but it's a fun show. Like I think easily of the video game adaptations I've seen, it's easily my favorite one. I don't know if it's necessarily better than The Last of Us Season 1, but I'm enjoying it more. But I think Fallout lends itself well to that. It's somewhat, it's campy, it's disturbing, it's funny. So it kind of covers a lot of bases. But I'm into it. I like it a lot. I'm excited to watch tonight.
I watched the first episode and I liked it, but I wasn't like, and I watched the first season. So I'm saying I watched the first episode of season 2 and I was like, yeah, it's pretty good. Holly seemed to not really care, and she watched the first season with me. And I gotta be honest, when I think about going to hit play or what to watch, I think about the fact that when I click play on Amazon Prime, I'm gonna be hit with ads.
Yeah, dude.
And I refuse to spend the $3, which I get it. We preach about YouTube Premium all the time. I almost never watch anything on Amazon, ever. So why would I spend that $3 there? So if I do watch it all, I'll wait until it's all out, spend the $3 and do it for 1 month.
Yeah.
And it just, dude, it's so annoying. It's like, dude, you paid for the Prime, just forego the ad money, boys.
It is
like,
insane.
Come on, Jeff. What are we doing?
It is insane. It's the most frustrating thing about watching it. Which is, I mean, to the show's credit, it's not the show's fault, but I hate it too, man. The egregious nature of like, oh, you paid for this, here's an ad. You serious?
Yeah, if you want to get rid of that ad, just $2.99.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's annoying.
You want to die, son?
You want to die?
Giving me an ultimatum like that? Crazy.
Crafton Picard wrote in,
Nice.
said, "Sup, fellas. Meta just shut down 4 internal VR studios, which have created some of the biggest AAA VR games like Asgard's Wrath 1 and 2 and Deadpool VR. We all know that Sony has abandoned first-party VR titles, and it looks like it's not even funding third-party VR modes, as Resident Evil Requiem and Ace Combat 8 developers have said there will be no VR modes due to a lack of funding from platforms. Valve has stated that it has no VR game in development. Is VR well and truly dead? Is it over? This makes me quite sad, as I have been a big VR fan for years. RE7 and GT7 have been some of the best gaming experiences of my life. This past year has had some amazing VR titles with Lumines, Midnight's Walk, Arcane Age, Metro Awakening, and Behemoth. I'm worried that it's going to completely die out as a gaming medium with lack of funding and support from platforms. From a technical standpoint, there's so much room to improve, and for a long time that excited me. The Steam Frame is an example of the continually improving tech, but now, without big players spending the big bucks, I just think it's going to die a slow death. Take care, guys." I don't know. I don't know what's going on. First of all, it sucks that Meta shut all those studios down, and we had said earlier in the show that Sanzaru is one of those. Camouflage was another one of those, which is another second-party PlayStation partner. They made Iron Man. I mean, you guys might remember that came to the original PSVR.
Oh yeah.
So, I feel like I've heard a lot from VR fans saying like, it's great, it's good, and people kind of fighting against the the trends, and certainly friends of the show that are really into it and even do their own programming around it. And I think it's always going to be this niche thing, especially on PC. I think if people are willing to make the hardware, which there'll always be someone willing to make it, then that works. But I just think, I wonder how you feel about it. Both of you. We'll start with you, Dustin. Is like, I think we can kind of safely say now that the people have spoken. There have just been too many opportunities to buy one at all sorts of different price ranges. Some of them have sold materially and appreciably, but the company that I think was most bullish about VR, which was Meta, is done with it, basically. The metaverse itself is a complete disaster. They spent enormous amounts of billions of dollars wasted on that. They bought all these teams to make games, and the games are good. No one's saying the games aren't good, but they're not commercial successes. There's an inequity between how much money it costs to make these games and then how many people are buying them and at what volume they're buying them. And I think some of the biggest VR games on PlayStation probably sell in the tens of thousands. And that's nice, but that's not sufficient. So if anything, I think that we're kind of lucky that Sony hasn't just, if you're a VR fan, that Sony hasn't been like, said just like, fuck this, it's not working, and walk away. But I think the big thing I want to reiterate, and Dustin, let's hear from you, is I just feel like people have spoken. They've had different price points. They've had really nice ones, really shitty ones, middle market ones. So look what happened with Apple and their mixed media thing, or whatever, mixed reality thing. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's clear that VR is not sustainable for big AAA style development, which is unfortunate. He mentions, or Captain Picard here, Crafton Picard mentions Resident Evil 7 and GT7 being some of the best gaming experiences of his life. And I don't know if it's one of the best of my life, but Resident Evil 7, I'm thinking of Resident Evil 4 in particular. I played all the way through in VR, and it was incredible. And those big AAA games, it's weird because some of them were absolutely amazing, like those conversions of the Resident Evil games. But then there's the Horizon game that is probably the most amount of money that Sony spent on a VR thing, and it just ended up being not very good. It's unfortunate because I think years ago, before PSVR 2 came out, when we were talking about what needed to be a success, I was saying it needed IP behind it to really push it. But I guess it needs more than just IP. It needs good games. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying there aren't good games. It's just unfortunate that some of the games, like that Horizon game, just ended up being not very good. It would have been a cooler game if that was maybe earlier in the VR, like people's experience, because I felt like I was like, yeah, this is cool, but I've had experiences like this in VR before, and it just, ended up not being that great. I still think one of the biggest missed opportunities was not converting more standard games into VR games, because that was initially the thought was like, you can't just take a game that's a normal game and make it a VR game. It wasn't designed for that. It won't work. And I think that was good at first, like good knowledge to be like, you can't just like, because people were trying to taking like the early Oculus and making a Half-Life 2 mod, and you still had to use like a mouse and keyboard, and people were like throwing up because it was just too fast, things like that. So it made sense that the early knowledge was like, do not just convert games into VR. But after a lot of the tricks of what makes a good VR game work in terms of both gameplay and how comfortable it is to play when you're in a headset, once those were learned, there were some amazing conversions. Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil 4, also was it Resident Evil 8 also had a conversion. Skyrim in VR is actually awesome. I wish there would have been more of these, because I think it would have been really compelling to be like, hey, you can, if you buy this game, you can also play it in VR, or there's like a different kind of VR mode. I'm not just saying like some games just sort of like, here's a VR mode, and it's like this dinky little demo. It's like, no, not that. So unfortunately in the AAA space, VR for the time being, I would say, is done. I think it will continue to survive, as you were saying, Colin, in the PC space, smaller titles, because it's clear that VR players do buy these games and play them. There's just simply not enough of them for those bigger titles.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's a totally different market, but it's not unlike what we do in that, like, we're not a mass market thing. We only exist because we have a small, group of thousands of people that paid for the content. But it's not a mass market success by any means, and it doesn't mean you can't find a success in that space. And there are developers and publishers that have found great success in the VR space. But yeah, well, Chris, what do you have to say about this? Do you think the people have spoken? Because even though Dustin is saying like there are these great games, I still feel like there are just so many opportunities for people to have jumped on board and they just didn't.
I think it just all comes down to the fact that it's just never been easier to put on a VR headset than it is to simply turn on the TV. I think that really is all it comes down to, because like ultimately, like when we play games, even us who do it professionally, like we ultimately do it as some form of I don't want to say relaxation exactly, but like we're kind of, we want to settle into an experience, and it's not necessarily this thing that we want to stand up and like, crank our necks around and deal with this kind of awkward, like 45-degree kind of radius turning and all this. There's a lot of problems that you have to solve that can't be solved without massive spaces, like massive rooms dedicated to it, or, omnidirectional treadmills, or like XY. Like there's so much that goes into making that feel natural that doesn't really exist with just this screen. Because I think ultimately what we do in video games, like we're simulating an experience, but like VR is like simulating a simulation of an experience. Like it's very odd. It's like there's like a disconnect there that I don't quite know how to even verbalize, but I feel it. Like I really, like Beat Saber is like the crown jewel for me. It's like that is the best game that I've played on VR. Like as a complete package, I'm like, this knows exactly what it is. It understands the limitations of what this technology does. It plays to the strengths of it, and it's just fun. On the other side of that, Boneworks from like 2017 or 2018 is still the most impressive thing I've seen in VR, because that's a game that's like, it's all like everything works the way you think it works. Like if an object does a certain thing in real life, it'll do it here. Like reloading is like, it feels awesome. I don't discount like how amazing a good VR experience is. It's certainly up there. But what I will say is I've been enchanted with Boneworks for many, many years. I've thought about it on and off a lot as like kind of like a pivotal moment for me. I have access to it. I could download it. I could play it. I haven't played it in 5 years. And this is a game I highly regard. Half-Life Alyx, same thing. I think it's fantastic. I have not booted it up. And it literally is just because, like, bro, it's heavy. Like, Colin, you kind of have the same experience with me where, like, it kind of makes my eyes hurt. It kind of, like, it
makes me sick. I mean, when I played it, it made me kind of woozy.
Yeah, it doesn't make me feel good. Like, I can't do it for as long as I would like to play a game for. Like, that's kind of a big thing. Even on screen, on a normal screen, mouse and keyboard, controller, whatever, I had to bump off of Oblivion because I was having that memory leak issue that over a while, after long periods of play, like the frame rate becomes so nauseating to me that I feel sick. So like that's strapped around my head, man. It's just kind of a non-starter. And I do think there will be a time where the technology is so streamlined and it's so effectively shrunken. It would be foolish not to believe that, right? Like we have essentially PS4s in our phones now. Like you can run a PS4 game ostensibly, like maybe even arguably like PS5 games at like 30 frames, but you can run them. And they operate on your cell phone. So I have no doubt that eventually we'll get to a space with VR where like, yeah, dude, you can play Half-Life Alyx on your glasses. I have no doubt that will be possible one day, and that'll be amazing. That'll be the time, right? Where if it's ever gonna happen, that'll be the time where it'll happen. But the iteration that it takes to get to that point, I fear like people are just not really gonna be on board for it, and so it's gonna have to wait until the technology is so obviously there that it would be dumb not to do it. But I don't see that happening for a while. It really is just the convenience aspect. I think that's what it is for most people. I don't know if you agree, but like,
yeah, no, I do agree. I think one thing that I'm fascinated by is, and it goes into this point, is more like an augmented reality situation. I feel like do you guys see these videos of like these gameplay experiences in various places, like, you know, kind of like hot lava style floor games and all these different things where people are jumping around or whatever. I can imagine larger warehouse style things like that with like lots of tech and augmented reality scenarios where it becomes more about the experience of going out, like playing Topgolf or something.
Yeah,
and
like
going,
arcade.
yeah, right. Like just going out, and then you have the more basic screen level stuff that goes on with normal video games in home. I feel I just want to two things I want to say is, like, I want to reiterate that I think we're kind of lucky that we had so much runway with this tech, because I don't think that the sales were necessarily ever there, and I think that the companies and the powers that be saw something special in it. The fact that Sony gave us another one is a sign that they were like, there's more here, and I appreciate that, especially as a tech company. I think that's really cool. I'll also say that I've had really amazing experiences too on VR that I think it's an old story now, but as I said, but the first time I was at the first time I played VR, I was at E3, and it was Valkyrie, and I was like, this is insane. Like, I can't believe how awesome this is. And that's like a very rudimentary old game. And even when I was playing Arizona Sunshine last year before I was like getting sick by it, which is another old game, I'm like, this is super cool. I want to like it. I'm not aghast about liking VR. It's what you said. It doesn't fit into the way I do things. I feel lazy. I sit down. I sigh into the couch or into my recliner, and then I have to put on a headset, and I have to stand up, and I have to charge the things, and I have to put the fucking wristbands on and do all that, and then I have to calibrate it. And it's like, I'm not doing this. Like, this is annoying. And I understand it's the nature of the beast. It's just not something I'm interested in. But I also want to say that I know that there are many people out there, we hear from them, we've done shows with them, that really love and champion this space. It's not for lack of trying. And it's not for lack of good shit. I just think sometimes things don't work.
Dude, I invested heavy. I got in 20... I want to say 18, but like maybe even earlier than that. Maybe 2017, I got an HTC Vive. And that was when it was fucking expensive to do it. You know, like that had like base stations that you had to drill into the corners of your room to like sense where the headset was, and it had like this really long cable, and I fucking loved it. It was awesome. But like, I mean, you know, at a certain point, like, I look at it. I have a what is it, the MetaQuest, and I have it sitting there, and I'm like, I have this like fantasy about using it. You know, where I'm like, but like the fantasy is always like, wouldn't it be great if I felt like I wanted to set this up?
Right, I agree.
Like that's the fantasy. It's not even the fantasy of using it. It's the fantasy of like being in the mood to even want to try. And that's a hard thing to get past. You got to make it easy, man. And eventually it will be easy. By the way, I think that will happen.
Yeah, I
it's
think
gonna be a while though.
It probably will. I am always, as far as AR is concerned, I always think about this old Microsoft presentation of them playing Minecraft, I think, or something.
Oh, on like a table, right?
Yeah, on a table, right? And I was like, this is way cooler, I think, actually, than making it as low impact on the player as possible should be the ideal, right? I mean, so if you're able to kind of get this spectral whatever into your living room, I think that's actually more interesting. So, but that was HoloLens or whatever. They kind of walked away from that as well. But anyway. Final inquiry comes from Caleb Greer, who says, greetings, gentlemen. When we talk about extraction shooters and the phenomenon of the extraction gameplay loop, does Sea of Thieves get enough credit? While not precisely an extraction shooter in that you're not extracting gear for future deployment, the game does center around PvPvE loot extraction. You can even lose your reward multipliers upon death that another team can pick up and sell, your emissary flag. You can befriend players through in-game voice chat, join a formal or informal alliance, betray them for greater hauls, camp outposts to steal loot when people try to turn it in, barter, and so on. Thoughts? Thank you for your time. I'm not familiar enough with this game, but I did want to talk about it. A lot of people are playing it on PlayStation. You have something to say, Chris, about this?
That's a good point. I hadn't thought of that, actually. Like, there is an extraction kind of element. Or especially, like, specific... maybe not extraction element. There obviously objectively is. But that element exists in, like, The Division as well. But the voice chat, like, the proximity chat aspect of it is definitely, like, a big part of Sea of Thieves. And that's a good point. I hadn't really connected those dots. But there's a reason why that game is huge. You know, I loved Sea of Thieves. Like, it's not a game that I can play all the time forever. But, like... once every like year or two, like I get like a message where it's like, you want to hop on Sea of Thieves, and I always do it, and it's always a great time. Like it's such a weird game, and it's gorgeous in a lot of ways. Like that water is fucking I think the water in Sea of Thieves is still kind of the most impressive water I've seen in any video game, honestly. But that's it. There's something to be said about that. That there is kind of an extraction loop in that game.
What do you think, Dustin?
Yeah, I feel like I never gave Sea of Thieves enough of a chance because I played it a little bit when it came out, and
Well, Ben loves it, right? He's really
yeah, oh yeah, Ben super into it. When it first came out, it was pretty light on content, and
Yeah.
this is for years now. It has been way, way, way better than when it first came out. But I am intrigued more by it now after having this realization about proximity voice chat and how fun it can be. So who knows? Maybe I'll give it another shot. Maybe would this be a good sacred stream where the boys play
Sea of Thieves.
Sea of Thieves for the first time? But the key I think is that, well, Chris, you have more experience than Colin and I.
It's
If
been
we
a
just went
minute.
in, how many people, Dean? Is it 3-person teams?
Yeah, it's
or
3. I think you can do 4, but like you can do
3 or 4?
but 3 or 4 is ideal. That would be funny.
That might be kind of fun. That might be a little more low key than Arc Raiders, Colin.
Yeah.
Like we can just go and dick around in there and drive sail the ship around.
Yar.
And,
We'll probably drive it because
Yar.
I'll bring it onto the land.
yeah,
No doubt.
true.
Yeah.
Stranded on a beach somewhere.
That's fun,
All right.
man. Like I do remember like a lot of voice chat oriented situations that I came down. I'm like, man, I had a blast. It's gameplay. It's very light. It still is, even this many years out. Like as far as I remember, like I played it pretty late after all the updates, and there wasn't really a lot. It's more sandbox oriented, so there's a lot of tools you can use. But you as a character, you can't really do much. But yeah, man, that's what a different lens to view that game through. I think I might load it up with that mindset, and I just see where that takes me.
Cool. Report
solid
back.
game.
Let us know.
Yeah.
All right, my friends. That's it. That's all we have for this episode of Sacred Symbols of PlayStation Podcast. Let's go around the horn and say goodbye to everyone. Chris, goodbye to you. You're now off to World Way, so enjoy yourself.
We're actually out a little bit earlier than I anticipated. We're out earlier than we normally are.
Yeah.
So I've got-
It was
I've
a
got
shorter
little bit
episode
of-
this week. There's not that much news, dude. If the God of War casting didn't happen, there would have been almost nothing to talk about.
Yeah. So I got some time to kill before my trek, but yeah, I don't know. I'm feeling like I think I want a grilled cheese. I think I'll make myself a grilled cheese. I haven't had a grilled
Nice.
cheese in a long time.
Love grilled cheese.
Yeah.
Love it. It's such a high quality food. All right, well, be safe. Have fun. Dustin, goodbye to you. Be well. Anything to say?
The Furmans are light on groceries right now, so I think the plan is to go to Chipotle tonight.
Oh,
And this pleases me. Pleases me greatly. Though I have discovered. So I've talked bad about the Butler Chipotle many times. When we come home from Pittsburgh for Holly's appointments on Tuesdays, there's Chipotle on the way home.
Mhm.
I mean, it was kind of a big mistake stopping there because it made me realize
how good you had it.
it's no.
Oh, how bad? I'm
It's
sorry. How
so much better.
Oh, interesting. Now,
And
did
it's
you look
like-
up the reviews and then cross reference? Do the people agree?
I have not done that. The thing about this Chipotle, it's the Pittsburgh Mills Chipotle, which is a dead mall that has all this surrounding infrastructure. But so the mall's dead, but there's all this other stuff. Every time I've been there, it looks like a fucking disaster. The garbage cans are overflowing.
Oof.
There's dirty tables, but damn, the food hits at that Chipotle. But to be honest, the Butler one, in terms of its cleanliness and upkeep, not much better. So it is what it is. Oh, we're supposed to get a Chick-fil-A in Butler in
Oh.
the next year. There's like a spot for it, and it's already been in the paper and stuff that's going to happen. So
Interesting.
when
There's
that happens, it's game over for my health.
people are so into Chick-fil-A here that they just built one on the other side of the road, basically like a mile up from like where that other one is. And they're both just always so
Dude.
crowded. I love Chick-fil-A, but I just don't go to it anymore because it's like I'm kind of over it. You know.
Yeah.
It's how I felt about In-N-Out in California, where after a while I'm like, I don't need to do this anymore. I'm here. I can just do it whenever. It's not that special.
Yeah.
But and it's just always so fucking crowded. I just don't understand what people are doing. But Are you going to do the based Colin burrito plus quesadilla order?
No.
You don't have what it takes?
No, I'll probably get a bowl tonight because I've been eating healthier. Save a little calories on the wrap, even though it is so
tortilla?
good. Yeah, the tortilla.
They got a good tortilla there, man. Sometimes
They
I
do.
get a side tortilla just to fucking eat it.
Oh, yeah. I love tortillas on the
good.
side,
Like
dude.
a pig,
Yeah,
like a pig.
good shit. Love that. That was my favorite thing about going to like real taquerias and burrito shops in San Francisco, especially was, I'm sure it's in LA too, is like you go to one of these mom and pop places and they're making corn tortillas that they'll just give you on the side in the little thing, like the plastic thing that you take the top off. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so fucking good.
It's great.
Love that.
Great shit.
Love Mexican food. All right, guys, goodbye. I'm going to go. It's cold out. It's like 30 degrees out. I'm going to go walk the dogs and then work out and hang out. I think got some hockey games around tonight. So do all this,
All right.
play Mega Man. But be well, be safe. Thank you all out there for your love, kindness, and support as well. Hope you are all doing good out there too. Thank you for your support. Patreon.com/LastStandMedia for early ad-free access. LastStandMedia.store for merch. We'll see you next time. Until then, goodbye.
See ya.
Take care, guys.
Sacred Symbols, a PlayStation podcast, is a product and trademark of Last Stand Media and Collins Last Stand LLC, and is proudly recorded in the USA. The show is conceived by, is written by, and is directed by me, Colin Moriarty. My co-hosts are Chris Raygun Maldonado and Dustin Furman. The show is produced by executive producer Dustin Furman. All of Last Stand's theme music is by my best friend, Ramon Narvaez. As you know, all of Last Stand's shows, including Sacred Symbols, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer level on Patreon, our highest tier, and we're grateful for your thoughtful and kind contributions to our independent endeavor. Thank you. Patrick Leslie, Mad Mock Media, Kyle Martin, Mark, Brad Cooley, Daniel Diamore, John Cordero, Don Lee, Shane Rayum, Joshua Smallwood, Enrique Perez, Chad Lewis, Paul Joyce, Austin Riley, Justin Wagaman, Justin Payne, Alex Monez, Omar Rosa, Joey Gondoliker, Gio Corsi, Cam Wallace,